June unlocks the door to the music room, sliding it open and flicking the lights on before making room for me to get inside. Immediately gets to pushing a few desks apart and making room for me to get around without hounding me, instead letting me have my independence, which is really nice of him. I do consider telling him if there's no need for the lights to be turned on considering how brightly lit the room is in the first place. Eventually decide against it. Here, I made some room so you can sit. First row. Aren't I lucky? You sure are, getting a private show and everything. Someone's got a big head. Nah, that's about average. I didn't mean it literally, you dork. I take the June offered me. What the fuck? What the? I take the seat June offered me, gathering my crutches and putting them away on top of the nearby desk. June quickly checks to make sure I'm okay, taking my bag off my shoulders for me and then sitting his aside next to it. What kind of song would you like to hear? I get to choose. I mean, it's practice for me all the same, so... I don't know any of the names of the songs, though. That's okay, just tell me a mood or something. I have a lot of songs mostly memorized, not to mention the stupid amount of sheet music I carry with me. I'm sure I can find something that fits your request. They're mostly classical, though. Ooh, interesting choice here. Well, let's do a quick save. Ugh. Just in case, I'm gonna fucking save over that. I don't know, for some reason I want to keep that save alive. Let's see how the immediate reactions go and see how they play out. Cheerful. Oh, that's pretty easy. Okay. Morose. Something morose? Something somber, moody. I know what morose means. Impressive. That's really vague. Come on. You know what I mean? One of those super difficult pieces that you're always practicing that kind of makes me want to go, no way, and ask myself how on earth your fingers can move that fast. So we went from really vague to oddly specific. Gotcha. Is that a bad request? No, it's fine. You're fine. Just caught me by surprise. I wonder which one of these choices is best. Huh. Well, we just gotta choose one and see how they go. So let's go with the bottom one. So if we're sticking, we were on impressive. Let's just keep that one going and see how it goes from there. But it's true that I do know a few seconds that could fit the bill. You've already seen me play Moonlight Sonata and Winter Wind. I don't know if those could work. I'd rather show you something you haven't seen before. I nod along, pretending like those names mean anything to me, while June mumbles something under his breath, clearly trying to come to a decision. He grabs his bag, digging through a folder filled with what looks like sheet music, flipping through pages in search of something. Ah, here. I think this'll work. I was practicing it just last week, so I should be able to play it well enough. He finally chooses a song from the pile, pulling out a shocking number of pages and setting them all up in front of the piano. All it does is make me wonder how the hell he can read all these stupidly small symbols while playing. Piano really is black magic. Here we go. June pulls his bench, sitting down on it and adjusting himself a little. I watch him do a few stretches, pulling on his fingers, grabbing his elbows above his head, among other things. The sight of it makes me giggle under my breath, and I don't quite know why. The idea of a pianist doing warm-ups as if he were some kind of athlete is somehow funny to me. May June never catch me saying that. He places his hand on the keys, his shoulders rise and fall a few times, at which point I realize he's taking deep breaths. Guess he has to follow his routine before he starts playing, even if it's just for practice. Come to think of it, it's not all that different from me doing my pre-serve routine. Oh geez. From the moment we say go, June starts playing notes at a shockingly high speed. My jaw drops right away as I watch his hands move all over the length of the piano so fast that they might as well be a blur. The hell? What is this? I've heard June play fast songs before, but this sounds insane. Are you bionic or something? Before I've realized it, I'm leaning forward, my eyes fixed on the tiger's frame. I swallow hard a few times, trying to contain my complete and utter shock. The notes are so fast and so forceful that I close my eyes, feeling at risk of being overwhelmed by the impact of each and every one crashing into me, the vibrations making me shudder. From the chaotic cacophony, a melody too complicated for me to make sense of springs forth, so violent that it threatens to subjugate me. Something begins to stir inside of me. The sound of June's piano awaking something that I've tried my best to keep locked inside. Before I can stop it, I croak out a strangled sob, though thankfully not loud enough for the tiger to hear. Or if he's heard it, he's doing a good job of ignoring it. I don't get it. Why does June's piano always stir me up so much? Every time I hear him play, I feel some kind of something building up so strong to the point of feeling taken over. Like the breaking of a dam, emotions well up that I don't even realize are there until they bubble to the surface and can no longer be ignored. What feels like a split second, I choke out a quiet sob, feeling all the built-up tension crash against me and begin to fade away, leaving me limp. My shoulders shake under the weight of an emotional load that I'm far too beaten up to carry. All as I do my best to stifle the barrage of tears that is threatening to burst. I bring both hands to my face, covering my eyes and mouth to keep it all from coming out. I continue to hear June's piano echoing inside of the room, safe in the knowledge that it's only the two of us here. The hand that covers my eyes begins to feel moist, but I do my best to keep from moving. It feels like if I move, even if I breathe, everything that is kept barely contained and simmering beneath the surface would all come out at once. I can't have that. I can't let that happen because I know that if June noticed what I'm doing right now, he would probably stop playing right away to check on me. I couldn't bear the thought of that right now. That thunderous, chaotic melody of his, while it is unraveling and threatening to make me come undone, is also the only thing keeping me together right now. It subdues and subjugates me, forcing me to listen to all of it. So I continue to stifle my sobs, greedily taking in all of June's music, letting my ears twitch with every note, letting my body shoulders quiver with every bar. As the last note echoes out, the room is again taken over by cruel silence. For a few seconds, that's all there is. Then June breathes out. I've seen him do before. It's him relaxing after finishing his piece. Lets me know that he's well and truly done, which means it's time for me to pull myself together. Grab my shirt, quickly wiping my face with it, and try as best as I can to hide the tears. Oh! When I open my eyes and look forward, I see June standing in front of me, having gotten up from the piano and freezing on the spot as soon as he saw my face. That was really, really good. Thanks for playing for me, June. For a second, I worry that he's going to say something. I'm terrified that he's going to ask me if I'm okay. And I know I wouldn't be able to bear it if he did. But instead, the tiger flashes me a gentle smile, walking slowly toward me until he's close enough to touch. He extends a single hand, placing it on top of my head, kindly petting me, ruffling my fur and rubbing behind my ears. Of course. Thank you for letting me play for you. The sudden, silent affection nearly breaks my heart, forcing me to look down and keep a second wave of tears from erupting. I instead take a few deep breaths, sniffling more than once in my effort to recompose myself. God, I didn't know it was going to hit me so hard. I don't get it. It's like my emotions aren't my own anymore. I feel so raw, like I'm not myself anymore. I've been feeling like that for a few days, but I can't ignore it anymore. I hate it. I hate feeling this way. It's so pathetic. Thanks. June's hand on top of my head is so warm, just like the tiger himself. Talk about lame. I have an idea. An idea? Mm-hmm. Get up, please. All right, we're going to see what his idea is once we try the other options here. Something morose. Let's see how it goes. Something morose? Yeah, that means something somber, moody. I know what morose means. Oh, why'd you ask? I wasn't asking what it means. I was just, I don't know if that's the best kind of thing for me to be playing right now. Ah, I see. June's trying to distract me, so he probably doesn't think something sad and gloomy is a good idea. I can understand that, but I want something I can identify with right now. No point in listening to something happy and cheerful if deep inside I'm anything but. I want to listen to a song that is closer to my real feelings. But I also know that I don't want to talk about how I'm feeling. There's no way to explain why I want what I want without doing just that. Please. It's what I want to listen to. So instead, I resort to good old-fashioned begging. June looks hesitant for a second. After a brief moment of silence, nods along to my request. Good. At least the first hurdle's been cleared. In that case, I know of quite a few songs that fit the bill. A lot of classical composers were not happy people, so are you going to tell me how they expressed their pain and sorrow through their music and how the world of art and music benefited from it? Honestly, I could, but I don't really see the point in going into lecture mode right now, so I'm just going to play if you don't mind. Of course. June pulls his bench, sitting down on it and adjusting himself a little. And the stretching and, yep, we've already seen him do this. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we know this one. The very famous piece. I didn't recognize the other tune, but yeah, this very famous song. As soon as he plays the first note, a low, sorrowful sound fills the room, hanging all on its lonesome for a brief moment before June starts playing the rest. Each chord is rhythmic, like a low thumping of a hammer. Something about it stirs a feeling of melancholy inside of me, and I realized to my abject horror that June hit the brief only too well. This constant thumping sound continues to build up at a regular rhythm, washing over me with a barrage of emotions that I'm far too uncultured to be able to name. What do I look like? Someone that's in touch with their feelings? As if. Close my eyes, allowing myself to be carried by the waves of June's mournful melody. Despite the gloomy song, I feel a sense of calm. Like everything inside me, all that's been kept at bay this whole time, suddenly stopped. Like it's all began to pull back and disappear. But just like the waves right before a storm, that sudden disappearance is a sign of bad things to come. My whole body tenses up, my throat getting so tight that I could choke. I try to prepare myself for what I know is about to come, but not fast enough. Like the breaking of a dam, emotions well up that I don't even recognize they're there until they bubble to the surface and I can no longer be ignored. What feels like a split second, I choke out a quiet sob, feeling all the built-up tension crash against me and begin to fade away, leaving me limp. My shoulders shake under the weight of an emotional load that I'm far too beaten up to carry, all as I do my best to stifle the barrage of tears that is threatening to burst. I bring both hands to my face, covering my eyes and mouth to keep it all from coming out. I continue to hear June's piano echoing inside this room, safe in the knowledge that it's only the two of us here. The hand that covers my eyes begins to feel moist. I do my best to keep from moving. Feels like Like if I move, even if I breathe, everything that is kept barely contained and simmering beneath the surface, that would all come out at once. I can't have that. I can't let it happen. Because I know that if June noticed what I'm doing right now, she'd probably stop playing right away to check on me. I couldn't bear the thought of that right now. That doleful melody of his. While it is unraveling and threatening to make me come undone, it is also the only thing keeping me together right now. I want to hear all of it. And I desperately want it to stop all the same. But it's far too late for me to realize that I wasn't prepared for the choice I made. That it hurts far too much. As we continue to stifle my sobs, greedily taking in all of June's music. Letting my ears twitch with every note. Letting my body body shoulders. I don't know what that means. Shoulders quiver with every bar. And as the last notes echo out, the room is again taken over by cruel silence. For a few seconds, that's all there is. Then June breathes out, as I've seen him do before. It's him relaxing after finishing his piece. It lets me know that he is well and truly done. Which means it's time for me to pull myself together. Grab my shirt, quickly wiping my face with it to try and, as I can, to hide the tears. And we see him there. He thanks him, and is there going to be anything different? Yeah. Seems to be good. Okay, it ends up in the same place. All right, so unless the difference is right after the getting up. Well, that definitely seemed to be a more negative experience. Let's see what happens if we do the cheerful song. Oh, well, that's pretty easy, actually. Is it? I wouldn't know. I do have one sonata that I was practicing a few days ago that fits pretty well. Or, well, it's more of a warm-up exercise, really. If you proceed to play something super technical, and after calling it a warm-up exercise, I will dig something out of my bag and throw it at you. What? That's rude! No one likes fake humility. I've been playing for years. It's not my fault that if something that is easy for me sounds difficult to you. I'm hearing a whole lot of excuses and no piano. Keep that up and I'm gonna head home and take your crutches with me. But no, I'm kidding. June fixes me with an overly cheerful smile, hiding behind it so much annoyance that he might as well be glaring at me. The sight of it is enough to send a shiver down my spine, letting me know that I'm probably nearing the limit of how much I can tease him for one day without suffering some kind of serious comeuppance. Good, now stop being a brat and just listen to me play. Good lord, yes sir. Forceful June is scary, and also kind of fun to see. Dear God, what is with me today? June pulls his bench, sitting down on it and adjusting himself a little. Watch him do a few stretches, pulling on his fingers, grabbing his elbows down above his head, among other things. Yep, we see the stretches. I don't think I recognize the song, unfortunately. As soon as he starts playing, the sweet sound of a high-pitched melody begins to fill the room. I quickly realize, with complete regret, that sitting behind June was a bad idea. I usually watch him play from the side, letting me see what he's doing. Where I'm sitting, though, I can't really see his fingers all that well. I can only watch his back and hear the music. Didn't the other ones describe us being able to see his fingers? That's a little weird. I lightly chew on the inside of my cheek to keep from voicing my displeasure at my mistake, not wanting to run the risk of breaking his concentration. On the plus side, the song is quite pretty, even if it sounds so sweet to the point of being almost saccharine. I don't know what that is, but we don't have the time for a fucking word of the day. I don't recognize it, but the sweet, gentle melody echoes inside the room, filling it with the brightest, warmest colors there are. Or at least that's how it feels. I close my eyes, letting myself enjoy the tune in peace. could feel the hints of a smile beginning to form across my lips. Before long, I start to sway back and forth to the rhythm of the music, letting it infect me and fill me up with its colors. This is nice. I wonder why it is. June's piano always seems to calm me. It's like something builds inside me whenever I hear him play. Like the breaking of a dam, emotions well up that I don't even recognize are there until they bubble to the surface and can no longer be ignored. It's what feels like a split second, I choke out a quiet sob, feeling all the built-up tension crash inside me and begin to fade away, leaving me limp. My shoulders shake under the weight of an emotional load that I'm far too beaten up to carry. As I do my best to stifle the barrage of tears that's threatening to burst. I bring both my hands to my face, covering my eyes and mouth to keep it all from coming out. I continue to hear June's piano echoing inside this room, safe in the knowledge that it's only the two of us here. The hand that covers my eyes begins to feel moist, but I do my best to keep it from moving. It feels like if I move, even if I breathe, everything that is kept barely contained and simmering beneath the surface would come out all at once. I can't have that. I can't let that happen, because I know that if June noticed what I'm doing right now, he'd probably stop playing right away and check on me. And I couldn't bear the thought of that right now. That gentle melody of his, while it's unraveling and threatening to make me come undone, it's also the only thing keeping me together right now. I want to hear all of it. So I continue to stifle my sobs, greedily taking in all of June's music, letting my ears twitch with every note, letting my body shoulders, whatever the fuck that means, quiver with every bar. And as the last note echoes out, the room is again taken over by cruel silence for a few seconds. And that's all there is. And then June breathes out. Yes, he's done. Which means it's time to pull myself together. Grab the shirt and wipe your face. And there he is. He's in front of you. That was really good. Thanks for playing. Terrified he's going to ask you. Wouldn't be able to bear it if he asked you. Instead, he walks over to you. He pets you. Thanks you for letting you play. Breaks your heart with the affection. Instead, you breathe, trying to recompose yourself. God you didn't know was going to hit you. Don't get it. It's like you don't know your own emotions, can't ignore them, you hate it, you hate feeling the way, you're pathetic, you thank you. He's warm, talk about lame, you have an idea. An idea, get up please. Well, that was by far the most positive experience, which, obviously that was kind of obvious that would be the most positive experience. I'm going to stick with the positive one. Let me know in the comments which one is the best one. Maybe the difference is the idea afterward, which, would have made all of this going through them all pointless because I missed the point. But let me know in the comments and we'll go back and do all that shit. But for now, I'm just going to stick with the positive song. So he asks us to get up. I cock my head to the side, staring at the tiger in confusion, silently waiting for an explanation of some sort, one, however, that he doesn't seem inclined to give. So I do as I'm asked, grabbing my crutches and getting up from my seat. For a second, I'm afraid my body is still too limp, that the moment I put some weight on my leg, my muscles will give out and see me falling to the floor. Thankfully, that doesn't happen. What exactly am I supposed to be doing here? First of all, wiping your face. Ugh. Before I have time to protest, June pulls out a tissue from his pocket and begins to gently wipe my eyes and cheek with it, taking the time to fix my matted fur. Thanks. Of course. Once he's done with that, the tiger grabs me by the hand, slowly leading me to the piano. I look at him even more confused than before, which makes him giggle. Sit down on that side. Huh? Just do it. I do as I'm told, sitting in front of the piano, looking up at June with uncertainty the entire time. The constant smile on his face tells me that he's enjoying seeing me in this kind of position, too. Am I being hazed? What's going on? June takes a seat on the other side of the bench. For a second, I worry that there won't be enough room for both of us, but even with June's bulkier physique, it can fit the two of us, no problem. This is a school, of course. Of course, they'd have a two-person bench. It's not unusual for teachers to sit with their students. So if he read my mind, June launches into an explanation as soon as he'd sat down. Though we are sitting close enough that our shoulders touch. Close enough that I can feel warmth radiating from June's body. Now, when you look at the piano, what do you see? Keys? Is this a trick question? No, of course not. Here, why don't you put your finger here? June grabs my hand, gently guiding it to rest atop a specific key on the piano. Do you see the way the piano is laid out? How you have a black key in between every two white keys, save for two of them? And how that pattern repeats? I guess. That's because this is how the octaves are laid out. Do you know what the basic notes are on a musical scale? Sure, we learn that stuff in kindergarten. It's the do-re-mi scale, right? That's right. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si. Oh, okay. It's taught differently in the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. For me, I learned T, but whatever. Or C, D, E, F, G, A, B. I remember learning that. I forgot it. I was in choir from preschool to freshman in college. And even in sophomore in college, I was in a music class. Fuck me if I could remember what the hell the notes were actually called. I learned it. I did it by ear. And that's why no upper choir past high school wanted me, because I didn't know shit about music theory, which requires you to know names of notes, at the very least. The basic musical scale has 7 natural notes. If you count them out starting here, you'll be able to count 7 white keys. Those are the 7 basic notes, as well as 5 black ones. There are black keys in between every pair of white keys, except for in between mi, fa, and si, do. These black keys are called sharps and flats. Sharps and flats? Mm-hmm. If you're going up the scale, the notes will be sharps in between C and D. You have C sharp in between G and A. You have A sharp. Conversely, if you're going down the scale, they are called flats instead. So in between D and C, you have D flat. In between A and G, you have A flat. That's a lot of information. I know, just bear with me here. Now, the note that I put your finger on, that is the middle C. Pretty cool, huh? Sure, cool. Let's go with that. Do you see a cluster of 3 white keys with 2 black keys inside of it? That's do, re, mi. That cluster of 4 white keys with 3 blacks inside it are the remaining notes. That's how you can identify where C is. It's the first key in the cluster of 3. But what does middle C mean? This means that it's the C that is more or less central in the piano. It's the 4th C. It's the key that is used as a reference to identify the rest of them. It's a little more complicated than that, but I'll keep it short and simple for now. Okay. Now, if I do this, June puts his hand on top of 3 keys, leaving an empty white key between each 4, playing them in sequence and then together. Hey, that sounds kind of nice. It does. That's because it's a major chord. It's the chord of C major. C major. When you make a chord, you have a note that is more distinctive. We call that the tonic note. It's the main note in the chord, and the one you hear above the others. The chord is named after that note. In the chord of C major, it is the note that you hear above the others, hence the name C major. If you break it down in terms... Break it down for me, fellas! Sorry. If you break it down into these base terms and concepts, the piano isn't that difficult to understand. I mean, sure, there are lots of really complicated pieces, but if you start from the basics, it's really not difficult to learn how to navigate the face of the piano. At the very least, it doesn't take long to be able to tell at a glance which note is which. Well, that makes sense. Following that logic, then would these keys here be other C's in the keyboard? I point to the few other white keys I can see, gaining an enthusiastic response from the tiger. Correct! That's kind of neat, I'll admit. It is. I'm not going to try and teach you a bunch of complicated stuff. You don't need to worry about that. I just thought you might like knowing at least the basics, so you can understand what key is what, and what each key is, and what function they serve. You're right, I do like that. But I do have to ask, what brought the sudden lesson in music theory? Is this where you bring in the you could be a coach lesson? Well, from the corner of my eye, I can see June lowering his gaze. However, I keep my eyes on the piano, having fun trying to figure out which key is which in the meantime. I figured you could use a distraction. You've had a lot going on the last few days. I thought that something simple and easy to understand would be easier for you to focus on. Let you concentrate on something other than, yeah, that makes sense. You were right about that. I know. I can tell you've been getting increasingly stressed out, and that you haven't been able to focus during class. I figured that anything too complicated or uses too much energy is too much for you to focus on right now. I am a sharp tiger, you know. Yeah. I nod along to June's words. Thankfully, he was right on the money about it. The basic explanation was enough to invoke my curiosity. It is kind of fun to try and figure out which key is which based on your explanation. I'm glad. And, well, there was one other reason. What's that? Rutherford. June reaches for my hand. Oh, he's blushing, grabbing it, pulling on it, breaking my concentration all at once. Turned my head to look at the tiger, confused by the sudden gesture along with the calling of my name. What? Oh. As soon as I turn my head to ask why June is suddenly calling out my name, it happens so fast that at first I don't even understand what has transpired. My eyes go wide as it slowly dawns on me. When I turned around, June's face was suddenly close to mine. And before I could react, he closed the distance all at once. I could feel the warm, damp feeling of his lips on mine. There he is! There they are! Oh, look at them. The shock is so great that my entire body goes stiff. I bet. Sorry. Unsure of how to react to the suddenness of it all. Slowly, a warm sensation begins to come over me, along with a tightness in my chest. My still raw emotions begin acting up again as an indescribable sense of happiness fills me up. June is kissing me? June, of all people, he initiated it? And by surprise? Oh, the tail! And he's crying. I pushed back against the warm, soft tiger, leaning into the kiss, making sure not to waste even one more second of it. June's lips are soft and moist. You have to point that out, the moistness. The feeling of his breath on my face is comforting. Makes me wish the whole world would just stop. Another flood of tears threatens to take me over as my eyes begin to water once again. Crap, twice in a single day? June's fingers interlock with mine, stroking the back of my hand as he clumsily attempts to press on with the kiss. I decide to return the gesture, gently nibbling on his upper lip, eliciting a soft moan from the tiger. Something brushes up against my tail, catching me by surprise for a second before I realize that June is trying to tangle his tail with mine. Aww, oh, and look at their hand. Oh, I thought his hand was down here, but no, their hands are on the piano. And oh, they're so goddamn cute together. My God, I can't. It's all too much. I completely lose sight of time, closing my eyes and just enjoying the feeling. June pulls away all of a sudden, making me think that our kiss is over, except it's not. Barely affords me a chance to catch my breath before the tiger greedily kisses me again and again. June and I make out under the sun's orange light. My God. We fumble while pressed up against one another, our lips locked with one another, hungrily kissing each other over and over. Oh my. It's awkward, it's clumsy, but above all else, it's wonderful. They put a lot of curvature on June's ass, and I appreciate it. I'm just saying, I appreciate that. Aww, that was a wonderful fucking scene. That was so nice. Finally, after what feels like an all too short eternity, June and I pull away from each other. I can still feel a pleasant tingle on my now. Again, there's been 3 mentions of the word moist in this fucking day. Moistened lips, while the fur under my eyes is matted and damp from tears. When I open my eyes and look at June, I see the tiger bashfully looking down at our interlocked hands and avoiding eye contact. However, despite our apparent embarrassment, it is also clear that we both have big smiles on our faces. That, was really nice. June's tail continues to wrap around me. He idly plays with my fingers, gently tugging on them and rubbing my hand within his grasp. And I, for one, feel no rush to pull away from him. You couldn't have told me you were gonna do that. Sorry. I was trying to summon the courage to. Not that I'm complaining. Far from it. That was our first kiss. And our second. And our third. And shut up. I got carried away. That's okay. I didn't want to pull away either, so... Seeing him June, so close to me like this. Seeing his face looking so red, seeing all the expressions he can make when he's embarrassed, all brings me an overwhelming sense of joy, along with the belief that really, my boyfriend really is adorable. Hey, June? Yeah? Ah! Oh! Aw. Cupping June's face with my free hand, I immediately give the tiger a taste of his own medicine. So warm. A few hours later. For the rest of the day, I felt completely useless. Before I'd even realized that I was back home. The time June and I finally let go of each other, the moment we said our goodbyes of the day, all of it was a daze. I apparently came back home, crawled into bed, and stayed completely still for hours, reliving that moment over and over in my head. I miss June. Oh, snap. However, what finally snapped me out of my daydreaming was my phone buzzing in my pocket. I didn't even realize that it was still there. Now that I think about it, I haven't gotten changed either, have I? What time even is it? Oh god, no. Rutherford, hey, is everything okay? Yeah, I just missed you. That's really cute, you know? Shush. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Me too. Oh, that's so cute. I'm really looking forward to tomorrow now. I'd almost forgotten what that felt like. Ah, that's so nice. That's such a nice little fucking thing. Look at that. Well, there we go. And that's the end of the June update. So, who knows what the fuck will be updated next? I have no idea. But until next time, thank you all very much for watching. And I hope you all have a nice day. This was a very, very nice... This was nice. Even lunch was tolerable. It was a good moment. And it's setting up what will hopefully be Rutherford's future in tennis, should he be able to have one. Or at least his rehabilitated attitude towards tennis. You know, therapy has finally been mentioned. And they got their kissing and, you know, the emotions are finally being expressed. It was very nice. This was a very good update. So thank you all for watching. I hope you have a nice day. I'll talk to you all later. Bye, everyone.